One, two, 1, 2, need my attitude. 3, 4, 3, 4, check my latitude. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that.
Hello, hello.
You know what I realized?
What?
That when I don't log in under my under the account that has like all the control stuff in it, I can't see all the users in StreamYard. So where normally we dance party and I can see you dancing and me dancing, I can't see that from here.
Oh, goodness. I was not dancing. I am still kind of exhausted and for a really ridiculous reason. So I did take a little bit of vacation. It was like 4 days of doing something, but our travel back was flight delays and long things. And I really think that we either need to figure out time travel so I could just like snap my fingers and get back quicker, or you need to have like that extra day after a vacation to like recover from the vacation, maybe. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
it's a 2-day recovery.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, when I
Because
ran a schedule and people would go on vacation, I wouldn't schedule them the first 2 days because it's like you're worthless.
and I kind of feel like that's what I felt like yesterday. Today I'm a little more like, but lesson learned also. So I drink tea all day, every day. Okay. Now, teas, most of the teas I drink are a little bit less caffeine than coffee. But basically, I'm ingesting caffeine 80% of my waking hours, right? Like it just is what it is. And when I went on this cruise, I realized that like I'm getting on the plane to come home and I didn't drink a single thing of caffeine the whole time I was gone. And I'm like, that's why I slept. That's why I relaxed. That's probably why today is crazy, because how do you deal with this travel crap without caffeine? Right. And since I don't drink alcohol, my caffeine is like the thing I need to get through a day. So yeah, note to self, don't just go cold turkey on caffeine on your vacation.
Yeah, and caffeine is expensive in the airports. You're looking at like $10 a pop.
Yeah.
So
nothing's cheap in an airport.
No, you're not going to get that fix really easy.
Yeah. There was because we had sat there for a while, and I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but they had these sandwiches, and you can get them like at 7-Eleven. Like imagine that sandwich where it's like that triangle sandwich that's cut in half and put into that little triangle box, right? Like everybody has seen these before. Yeah. $18.50. I didn't buy one, obviously. But I'm like, I will starve to death in this damn airport before I pay $18.50 for a triangle sandwich. Not happening.
That is insane. That's like I'll always buy their OJ when I get, when you get through because you can't have liquids. So I buy orange juice and I'm like, yeah, my orange juice and my hot cocoa when I get into the airport is already a $20 tab.
Is this really worth $8 for an orange juice? And you're like, no, it's not.
Not even. I love it.
You know what? That kind of, I'm joking a little bit, but it actually goes with our first topic you suggested, which is the cost of opportunity, right? And I know it's a little bit of a stretch there, but what something is kind of worth it to you, right? Like, so orange juice in an airport, you're like, I need something. I don't want soda. I need some sort of energy. So I'm willing to pay for $8 orange juice. Right?
Yep. Well, and you look at it and it's because I'll do that and I'll do a hot chocolate. And for me, those are the two things that like you said, if it's a stressful environment or things aren't going well and you need a vice, right? I'm not paying $8 for a candy bar in an airport. Like my chocolate fix is, I'll buy a hot cocoa though, And so you want to look at that of what is that balance? If I pass on having something to drink and I pass on that, then I'm going to sit here, I'm going to be thirsty, I'm going to be anxious, I'm not going to have something to fidget with,
Hmm.
right? And so what is that difference there? And in business, that's huge. In business, if you are looking at shifting something to be something shiny, and we talk about this a lot, right? Is if you do something because it's shiny, it might not be business, it might not foundational, right? Inside of your business foundation, it might not make sense. And so, what are you giving up to incorporate something shiny? What are you so you don't always want to add the shinies, and sometimes there are things that do make that foundation more stable and more sturdy.
Sure. Sure. And I think it's your foundation does have to be sturdy. I'm not saying it doesn't. And sometimes a shiny new toy can help that. But I want to talk that cost of opportunity is, in my opinion, like you have to get the basics set first, right? So like if you don't understand your basic spreadsheet of, income and outgoing money and all the things, like if you don't understand a basic spreadsheet, how are you going to understand a CRM,
Yep.
right? If you don't understand how a basic Stripe account works, do you get my point? Why are you adding 15 other ways for somebody to pay you? You haven't figured out Stripe yet. Figure that crap out first. Figure out one thing. And I say Stripe, but figure out if you're taking Venmo, make sure that you have your process down pat, right? Somebody pays you by Venmo, it adds to the spreadsheet. Yeah. But if you don't understand your basics, adding something flashy just because somebody says it will be better, is that opportunity worth it if you really don't even understand what you're doing right this moment in this little bucket?
Yeah,
Does that
exactly.
make sense?
Yeah, and that, that leads into that conversation with that, what's the cost?
Mm-hmm.
What is the time and the energy that I have to put into pulling a CRM if I don't understand my spreadsheet? What is the time and energy that maybe I need to delegate out and pay somebody else because maybe the spreadsheet isn't working and maybe I can't figure out how to make this CRM work. And
Sure.
so you have to look, no matter what you do in your business, there's going to be a cost, whether it is a cost to your time, a cost to your bankroll, a cost to your energy. Always, everything is energy, right? It all takes,
Sure.
as much as we want to say we can power through the day with our caffeine, um, there is still energy that goes into the thought process of how do I make this align? What do I do? And so when you're looking at that shiny object, or you're looking at how you want to shift your business, or sometimes putting it on the shelf,
Yep.
there is a cost to all of those things, and sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's not. But if you don't do a cost analysis, then you're just jumping in to find out that it was too deep, right? We
Right.
want to wade into it.
Yep. And I think a lot of times people think cost is just around money. And I know that you've said it a couple of times that, it's about that energy. And that's something that you and I have talked about for years, whether it's on one of these lives or just in general with people. So we only have 24 hours a day, whether we want to lie to ourselves or not, right? So you can be like, oh, I'll make time. Well, when you make time, you're taking from something else.
Yep.
So when because we can't make time, right? We can only, in a sense, in my opinion, find time, which means you're taking from somewhere else and applying it to whatever your idea is right now. And I think that's a big factor for people, especially when you have an entrepreneurial venture with a job, with a family, with friends, with, if you're, I mean, if you're like a, and I'm saying this, a troll that lives under a bridge all by yourself and you just want to start a business, maybe you have all the time in the world because you don't have a friend or a family. You're living under a bridge. You don't even have to clean your kitchen, right? But most people are not like that. No offense to any trolls living under bridges out there. So when it's people like you and I and all the people that are in our network, when you have those other things, what are you taking from? What is the cost factor of what you're taking from to make a business successful, right? So the first thing I think we should talk about a little bit is that time, right? And sometimes you have to say, I don't have it.
And you have to also understand that it's always going to shift. If you have kids, depending on what those kids are doing, if it's sports season for them, if it's, whatever season that they do all of their activities in, you might have a lot less time because you're more active with your kid and trying to get that going forward. You joke about being a troll, and I know quite a few people who do hermit, right? That's their comfort zone. They're not
Oh,
big
sure.
on socialization. They're not big in that space, but they do still need to have socialization. They still need to have time, even if it's 1 day a week where they put that into, I get to see a person, right? As humans, we all have those basic necessities. And I think that there are times, and I've proven I do this a lot, where we neglect those things because, well, if I just put all my time into my business, or if I just do all of these things, but then that takes that emotional toll of I'm not taking care of myself in a full capacity. And so that's really big when you're looking at that time space of where do I put things and making sure that you are setting boundaries for yourself and for the people around you because you might not need time, but maybe your partner needs more time with you, right? So those are all different kind of considerations that we need to take into scope when we're looking at that new project. What is this going to take on? And sometimes you might have found that you have a 2 hour block for social media, but you've been doing social media for so long that now it's only taking an hour. And so you might have that extra time to shift into something different.
Yes, yes. And I think we're never going to get to all the costs of being an entrepreneur or having a side hustle in some people's cases. And just so you know, you can have a side hustle and be an entrepreneur at the same time, or you can be an entrepreneur as your primary and not have a side hustle. But we're never going to talk about every cost factor, right? There's no way we could list everything on here. But financial and time, I think, are the primary ones that people don't take into consideration. Because they're like, oh, well, if I just start putting, and I'll tell you my example. Years ago, I was like, oh, I'm just going to start writing resumes for people way before AI can do it for you, right? So I was writing resumes for people. And at first I was like, oh, $50 for a resume. But when you go back and forth, I was making like $3 an hour for writing a resume for someone, right? And the time cost factor of that to me was pointless, right? Just pointless. And we've all, I shouldn't say the two of us have done that. I shouldn't say every entrepreneur has done that. But at some point in time, you look at your time that you put into something and the cost of that, if it balances out or not.
And when you bring that up, right, that always takes me to the art scene. That always takes me to crocheters, right?
Sure.
There is only so much that they can charge for a piece of clothing, and yet the time that it actually took them to make it,
Yeah.
they're never going to make that money back.
Mhm.
When you look at people who work with resin, they have to actually let their resin mold sit for hours, and they're never going to get paid for that time that that mold is not in use,
Right.
right? Because it's only being used for one project at a time. And so there also comes that evaluation of what am I willing to take? There's some really cool things that I want to buy for my kid because there's a Mad Hatter crochet lady who does these really cool, um, she does really cool like crochet patterns, but they're expensive,
Yeah.
and I can't be mad at it. Like, I can't be mad at it at all because she's charging almost $200, and I know that on we get paid 125 an hour.
Yeah.
You're charging me almost $200 for something that probably took you a good 10 hours to crochet. Like, I can't be upset at all about that. And people have that functionality of, well, I can just go buy a sweater that mimics that. Great. But it came from a whole different category of work.
Yes. And I think what people don't quite understand, and I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of, you're not paying me because I can do some, like, you're paying my rate because I have tons of experience to bring to the table. Yeah, I can do it quicker than someone else, right? But you're paying me a higher rate because I can do it quicker and well at the same time, right? So when you look at crocheters, right, I once a year, maybe twice, I crochet myself a hat. And I am not bragging, but every time I wear one of my new hats, somebody says, Sarah, well, they don't know my name because I'm passing them in the grocery store. Oh my gosh, I love your hat. Or, oh my gosh, I like your hat. Look at the bow on it or whatever, because I actually can crochet a bow, whatever. So, but every once in a while, somebody be like, oh, you should make those. No, do you know how long it takes me to effing crochet this hat for myself? Okay, I can crochet. I can look at it. I can crochet. This stupid thing takes me like a month of nights to make a hat. I can't make more hats. I would lose my flipping mind, right? It's relaxing. I watch TV. I do it. Now, take the people that have the skill set that can do this super quick and applying this to any entrepreneurial adventure, right? You do it over and over and over again. Practice makes perfect. And sure, one of these hats that takes me a month to make might take them a day or two, right? Because they're super quick and they know what,
and they don't lose count.
They don't lose count, right? They don't have to redo a couple of lines because you did them too tight or whatever, right? Like, there's a variety of problems I end up with because I don't do it very often. So I'm paying somebody for that, right? Because I want my unique hat overnight. Does that make sense? In a sense, right? I want it like quickly. I'm paying you for that skill set. And I think that's another cost factor that the public doesn't think about a lot when they're hiring a consultant or a coach or somebody from Etsy. I'm putting Etsy people in all of this because their time and effort is never taken into consideration.
Well, and that's been my new coined term lately because everybody knows I got a part-time job. I work at a gas station. And we have $7 donut holes, right? Like, and you could go to Walmart and a donut hole is like $2. But you're paying
pack of donut holes, not one donut. Right. Okay, just making sure because
even like if you look at our potato chips, right? Our potato chips are probably $2 more than if you're at a grocery store.
100%. Yes.
And my coined term has literally been you're paying for the convenience.
Yes.
That is the convenience price. And so, like you said, if I don't want to crochet my own hat and I want that hat, then I'm going to pay for that convenience of it getting shipped to me and I don't have to do the work.
Mhm.
But also, if I want it to be done by somebody who is going to take that money and use it for themselves, and it's not going to a corporation, right? Because you could go buy a crocheted hat that was knitted on some machinery in the store, and it's probably cute as well,
I'm sure.
but that's all the corporate money, right? I mean, it's going to a few different people across the board, but there is definitely that difference in that homemade and that direct contact of this person made this.
Mhm.
And so that convenience and the amazing aspect of what are we looking at? Yeah, you could pay less for the convenience of going to a big grocery store or a big, a shopping center, or you can go pay somebody who does it from their house and might otherwise not have an income.
Um, so this is live, and I'm just going to tell you something that you know how we're going to talk about environments that shape your business in a second. So I'm going to change the subject just for a second and lean into that because I texted my partner in life, and I was like, he had to take the child to a doctor's appointment. And so I was like, hey, just FYI, Brittany and I are going live a little bit late. It's going to be around 10:30. So basically, when you come home, be quiet because I don't have my headphones. And he never answered. And then so I just checked where he is because I can check. He went to his office. I didn't know he was going to the office today. I'm such a horrible person. So your environment that shapes you, make sure you get up before your partner leaves to find out what the day is going to look like. But let's get into a little bit of talking to people. And what was this? Who you talk to regularly and who you should talk to more regularly.
Well,
Go
and
ahead.
Terry and I touched on this a little bit last week.
Okay.
We kind of touched on like how you create that world around you and that environment around you. And I
Mhm.
think the Keystone Network is a huge milestone for us as far as creating an environment for our businesses, because previous to the Keystone Network, we worked separately, and then we would just start to we would talk inside of a meeting of sorts, a networking meeting of sorts. And then once we created the Keystone Network, now we have a place where we can drop in and we can see people and we can have more of a conversation on business levels and conversations that in your home that lack other people or lack other business owners, right? People
Yes.
who aren't so much invested in your business itself making money, but like just in general, or who are not sitting next to you and listening to you have random conversations with people. Your environment is huge. And so if you're crocheting at home and you need to crochet and watch TV to get that project done, but your children keep coming in the room, right? We have those spaces of, hey guys, I need to work on this project. It was built this is paid, it's buying you dinner. We need to give it its own environmental space. And we've had that conversation where there's a few people out there who have kids or have spouses or have different people who tend to want to draw extra energy and extra time, but they cross that boundary of, I do need to make money. I do need to make sure that the business progresses and goes forward. And so, who in your environment and what are you doing to hold that space really goes into that time. And what we were previously talking about of taking on shiny things, if you can't take on a shiny thing and manage all of that, your environment is very much affected.
Yes. And also, when I think of environment, I think of the people that influence you, right? So if and I'll give an example here. So I've had people in my past that I've told them what I do, and I've tried explaining what I'm building and why I am where I am. And I have decided that there's certain people that will never understand that you can have a life without a job that you clock into at 8 and leave at 5 p.m. That you can truly have a life and pay your bills and be successful and not clock in at 8 and leave at 5. Okay. Um, but those people are not the people that I need in my life on a day-to-day basis, because if they don't understand, if they can't support it, then they don't need to be in my life. And I think that having people that encourage you to build things and dream and go and be better and do better, using my own tagline, if you have those people in your life, right? But that same person has to be the one that says, no, that's a stupid ass idea. Let's talk about it. Right? Because not every idea is a good one. But when you have people that never, and you have people in your life like this, we've talked about that, the people that just don't understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And those people in your environment are toxic. And I hate that because that's kind of a millennial term, right? Like, oh, let's talk about toxic behavior. Toxic behavior is going to exist no matter what. But what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree completely. And I had a conversation this morning with somebody because right now you and I kind of touched base on this a little bit, but I'm just zapped. I don't know what is up and what is like I'm just zapped right now. And the person asked, "Well, what can I do to help?" And we all know that I am horrible at asking for help. I don't understand how to do it. Grasp I don't grasp it. But also things that people think are helpful for me are um, very much not logical, right? If somebody is like, "Oh, hey, this got left at my house, let me take it to you." My thought process is, "I'll see you when I see you. I'll get it when I get it. Don't waste 30 minutes," right? And so when people ask, "Well, how can I help?" Logically, for me, there's not a lot of help that can be done, right? It's more of I have to do it, or I say this a lot. I say I need to figure it out. I need to figure out what I'm not processing. And so when you have people in your life who allow you the options, right? If somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to do you want me to drop this off?" I'm always going to say no, because logically it makes no sense. But if they just dropped it off, I'd greatly appreciate it, right? Like if you just took the time to just do it, then I would be grateful and it would be done. But people take that as well, you dismissed me offering to help you. No, I dismissed the logic of a 30-minute trip that didn't need to be made, right? Like that's
Yeah.
so there's different ways to look at that, because yeah, I did dismiss the help. I said, "Hey, I don't need that help," or "I don't need that," but because I didn't look at it as a helpful thing, right? And so I think when people are looking at business owners, they're looking at it in a logic of, well, you could get an 8 to 5. They're looking at it in a logic of, well, what money is it bringing in? What is it actually doing? And for business owners, we thrive in our businesses because it's allowing us the freedom to work as we want to and to do business in a way that we deem fit, because we've done business with other people. And there are times where we've worked with people and we were like, "You cannot do this." I've sent you screenshots lately where we're like, "You cannot do this." This is not what you can do in life.
Yes.
And people do it, and that's why we have our businesses. And so the different people in your life will look at it from what is their logic, what they deem appropriate. And it really takes that space of having that conversation of, "I understand where you're coming from, but this is where I stand." And that is a a whole different piece that I think we avoid a lot when we're looking at our environment. And that goes with those boundaries of this is what I need to get done. These are the things that I'm paid for, and I have to do this today. I'm having that problem lately just myself with that boundary for myself because I'm struggling to just get my motivation under me right now. So I think that it really is a day-to-day conversation, and the support systems you have around you are important. And sometimes the support systems that you have around you, as great and as amazing as they are, sometimes it gets overwhelming and everything gets too much. And so I think that your environment is important. There's a balance to it, just like that cost analysis that we talked about earlier. Business is not cut and dry, and so many people try to approach it in that fashion. It's different to show up to a 9 to 5 where you have a list and this
Mhm.
is your task list and this is what you do. When you're in a business, you are all the hats.
Well,
And
you have to
so,
create your list.
yeah,
You have to know what goes on the list, create the list, and execute the list. And so, yeah, it would be great if I walked in. Well, I say walk in because I just walk to my desk. But if I walked in every morning and somebody was like, Sarah, do these 10 things, I'd be like, oh, that works, right? But no, unfortunately, I have to determine the 10 things.
yeah.
But also, what I have to determine is I have another call that starts in about 10 minutes. So we are the Keystone Network.
Network.
So this is what?
You said it like you were forgetting, so I said it with you.
No. We are the Keystone Network. Most days, I don't know. Some days I'm off the beaten path consulting. So I think that's where I was getting confused at. But this is Unleashed. It's every Wednesday, most of the time in the morning. Today was a little later in the morning, all due to me. But if you are looking for someplace to co-work, collaborate, and network, check out the Keystone Network. Reach out to either or both of us, and we can set up a tour for you. And I think that is about it. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
Nope. Start the dance party.
All right.
Do.
1 2 1 2, need my attitude. 3 4 3 4, check my latitude.
I like that.